So we're going to talk about storytelling in the age of Gen AI. I'm from J.P. Morgan, so of course I have to give you a disclaimer saying that all these opinions are my own that I've gained over 20 years in developing content and experiences in the financial services industry. They don't represent the opinions of J.P. Morgan. If the banking gig didn't work out, he could have been a compliance officer. So Gen AI and storytelling. So what did a Gen AI chatbot say about it? Generative AI is transforming the way we tell stories about products, creating more engaging and personalized experiences for our audiences. I'd say maybe if we do it right. So what's different in this age of Gen AI? Core values, purpose, quality criteria are the same for storytelling. It's just harder to see the good stuff through all the dreck and the fluff that we often get out of these tools. What are the requirements for good storytelling? What they've always been. We need authenticity, we need uniqueness, we have to be on brand, we have to understand the personas that we're speaking to, we need good details that resonate, and we have to understand the persona's point of view. What are we trying to solve? So option one, Gen AI chatbots. You've been hearing about these especially for the last couple of years. Also, one other piece about compliance, I can't mention brand names, so I'm going to be using nicknames for some of these tools, but you're going to see real tests out of them. So how does it work, of course? You've all tried it. You've put in a request. It has a large, diverse database. Most of them are current as of about a year ago, and you get a synthesized response across all those inputs. Easy interface, easy to use, general purpose, wide range of topics it can cover, natural language processing, and a huge amounts of data. So here's a simple prompt. Write a 200-word blog about first funding an IRA or 401k. And it gives a good response. Lots of good quality data out there about this kind of topic. So it came out with a decent response. It reads well, it's clear, not per se have any particular brand voice, pretty generic, but it's accurate. So what are they good for in terms of storytelling? Generating ideas, certainly. Research, absolutely. Summarizing long articles, absolutely. Rough drafts, personalization. Not so good for on-brand copy. It doesn't know your brand. It doesn't have your style guide. It doesn't know your guidelines. You're not going to get an authentic, distinctive voice, except perhaps something that you don't want, as we're going to see in some examples. You're not going to get unique phrasing, again, unless something you probably don't want, and certainly not your house style. And not so good for refining copy. If you simply are looking for spelling and grammar checker, yeah, okay, it can do that. But it's not going to make it better. So AI writing assistants, these have been around for over 10 years. There's several retail versions available. They will look at your copy that you enter, that you write into the tool, or that you copy from Word or someplace else. It'll give you feedback. It'll give you a score. You make some improvements, your score will be raised. What's good about these is you can actually upload, at least the enterprise version of these tools, you can upload your style guide so it conforms more to your house style. You can put rules in there about certain words you want to use and don't want to use, such as guarantee. You probably don't want to use that. So AI writing assistants, how do they work? So you're writing the story in the tool or copying it in. It follows a bunch of rules. And what's important about AI writing assistants compared to the Gen chatbots is the LLMs are completely different. They are tuned not just for grammar, but actually to the expression. So they're much more fine-tuned to give you better quality output than the general chatbots, and there's a huge difference. So content enhancement. Put in something that you did a rough draft on, look for the improvements. It'll tell you where to make the improvements. It'll show you beyond just standard spelling. The rules are different, and the good thing about these tools are they can integrate where you actually do work. For example, designers like it because you can integrate with Figma. You can integrate it with Word, Outlook, and a bunch of other places as well. So and also there are, of course, Chrome integrations. So you don't have to go to the browser for this tool to actually have it be productive for you. So AI writing assistants and storytelling, what's good? Better quality first drafts, more on-brand content because it's following your style guide. Messaging consistently across the firm, more likely. Where people create the text, of course, you're working there. A little more creative, a little more subtle phrasing. It's not good for generating raw copy because it's not creating, on this part of the AI writing assistant, the governance piece is not creating anything, you're creating it. It's not going to give you fresh ideas. And you're not going to get a rough draft in seconds unless you type really fast because it's not generating anything. Now, there are improvements on the AI writing assistants where they have a second phase where they actually do generative content, and we're going to look at that too. So the other piece about the AI writing assistants, which is really important, it's very helpful, and we've done some tests about this. English as a second language, people really appreciate it. Improve sentence structure, vocabulary, and people with dyslexia find these tools really helpful. We've also done some tests there. And since 10% of the population has dyslexia, this is a very useful tool for general employee productivity. Okay, so the third option, AI writing assistant, the governance piece with Gen AI chatbot as a hybrid, using a Gen AI tool to create the content, but running it through the assistant to improve it and get it to house style. So you put your story request in, you're using, if you're lucky, and you're using one of the tools like the AI writing assistant, or you have onboarded a chatbot internally, you can have it run on the firm data, not just general data, and it's following your firm style guide, and you've generated a story following most closely your firm style. So the content creation is better. You're likely going to get better drafts, and it's following more advanced LLMs to give you better quality output than you would from the general chatbots. So what's it good for? Everything you get from the AI writing assistants, everything from the chatbots, the focus on firm-only data. If you have an internal version, you can create models for what, say, a good case study is, what a good product description is, what you want for blogs, etc. You're not going to get perfect first draft copy. None of these will give you perfect first draft copy, but it will get you closer. So we're going to have a bake-off. Storytelling chatbots versus AI writing assistants with Gen AI. So here's the prompt. I need a product story about a new type of credit card that gives 5% back on travel purchases and analyzes your expenditures with AI to find special travel deals that would interest you. I want it for a sophisticated female traveler who spends at least $8,000 each year on personal travel. Lots of details in here for it to spin out a story. A lot of ways it can come up with some interesting scenarios to help sell this new product. Okay, so Harry is our first Gen AI response. Of course, we have Hermione and Ron also. So it says, Harry says, meet the Lux Travel Rewards Card, the premier card designed for the sophisticated traveler who craves both luxury and value. Okay, you gave it a name, Lux Travel Card. I'm not sure we're going to stick with that. Premier card designed for sophisticated travel. You picked it up from the prompt, craves both luxury and value. I'm not sure I'm going to want the word craves in there. I'm going to know what they're getting at, but I'm not sure that's going to be on brand for the copy. And it started out, meet the travel cards. It's speaking to us in second person. Suddenly it shifts in the second sentence to something that's very descriptive that could be from an internal strategy document tailored for women who spend at least $8,000 annually on personal travel across the United States and Europe. Okay, this is the opening of a paragraph of a story that I'm supposed to be engaged with as a reader. Tailored for women who spend at least $8,000 annually. That sounds very tactical. On personal travel across the United States and Europe. We didn't say United States or Europe. We said sophisticated traveler. It's making an assumption about where we want to go. If we are a sophisticated traveler, maybe it's Asia, maybe it's Africa, maybe it's Antarctica. But why is it being limited to the United States and Europe? And this card offers an unbeatable 5% cash back on all travel purchases. Okay, that's attractive, 5%. I don't know if it's unbeatable. Compliance might have a thing or two to say about that one. But that's not all. Powered by advanced AI, the Lux Travel Rewards Card goes beyond mere savings to analyze your spending patterns and uncover exclusive travel deals perfectly suited to your taste. So in the second paragraph, you're telling me it's snooping on me? It's looking at my accounts? I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that. And perfectly suited to my taste? That sounds a little creepy in all in itself. So there's a few things here, but I'm not sure we can take this as is. Hermione, And by the way, the outputs I got from all these was several paragraphs long, so I'm just showing you the opening. So this is where we have to really engage the reader, and I'll show you later a couple of sentences and phrases that we had further down in the copy. So Hermione had said, once in a while, a credit card comes along that transcends the ordinary. Okay, a little lofty, a little cliched, but I get it. The Wanderlust Elite card, okay, is precisely that, a fusion of elegance, intelligence, and wanderlust. So the card has elegance, the card has intelligence, the card has wanderlust? What about the user? Okay, not quite on target. Okay, what did Ron have to say? Imagine a credit card that anticipates your wanderlust. They're all using the same thesaurus. They love wanderlust. The Horizon card isn't just plastic in your wallet. Imagine a card that anticipates your wanderlust, very anticipatory, high level, and suddenly we're plastic in your wallet. And first of all, this is an upmarket card. I think it's probably metal anyway, but plastic in your wallet. It's a sophisticated travel partner. My card's my travel partner. Do I have to buy a seat for it? Designed for the discerning woman who thrives on exploration. Okay, discerning woman who thrives on exploration. That's getting to it. That's that's possibly something we can work with. Okay, so where are we with the chatbots? Storytelling usefulness. Surprising and entertaining, yes. Needs direction, absolutely. Doesn't always understand you, absolutely. Doesn't understand, we don't always understand why it does what it does, and not fully housebroken yet, but, coming along. So, Luke, and we're going to hear from Han also. So these are AI writing assistants that have generative capabilities. So we use their own generative capabilities for this test. Introducing the Elite card. Lots of Elite going on in all these. The perfect companion for the sophisticated female traveler. Okay. With the Elite card, you'll be rewarded with 5% back on all your travel purchases. Okay, sounds good. Whether it's flights, purchases. We have a grammatical mistake from an AI writing assistant. Not so great. Hotels, or adventure activities. Okay, some detail. But that's not all. Our cutting edge AI technology analyzes your spending habits and travel preferences to uncover exclusive deals tailored for you. Again, AI is snooping around, studying my spending habits. I'm not sure in the first paragraph, I need to know how it's doing it. Tell me the benefits of it. You don't have to tell me how it's doing it. I think we all assume that Amazon, for example, is doing all kinds of searches, looking at our patterns to bring stuff to us, but it's not upfront telling us constantly, we're watching your every step. So let's take it what Han has to say. Introducing the Wanderlust. Here we go, Wanderlust again. Wanderlust and Elite credit card. The ultimate travel companion for the sophisticated female traveler who is discerning with her finances as she is with her destinations. Okay, that's getting somewhere. That's kind of an interesting phrase. We could work with that. Designed specifically for those who spend a significant amount on travel each year. Okay, no $8,000. Very nice. Significant amount. Good. We don't need the 8,000 threshold up front. This card not only rewards you, but also personalizes your travel experience. Okay, personalizes your travel experience. No AI. We don't need to know about it right now. So this is getting much closer to a good story that we could potentially use. So how do we create better stories with Gen AI? We have to start with an outline or brief, much as you would today, even if you weren't using AI. AI to augment, not replace human creativity. Try using different prompts to get better responses. And even when you ask the first prompt, ask for clarification, go deeper, ask it in different ways, you'll get different answers. Using the same prompt on different days will give you a different answer, potentially, even using the same tool. Assume the initial draft is only rough and requires revision by a person. Review for quality and bias. There can be built-in bias depending on where the data comes from. There's been a lot of tests on that. And you probably all know this, but I'll say it anyway because I'm a content person. Read every draft aloud, and that's true if it's AI generated or not. You will stumble where there are problems quite often. So if it doesn't read well when you're saying it aloud, there's an issue, typically. And have others who have no idea how this was generated, take a look at it, look at the copy. We've done a couple tests there, and where we've had generated content, which was pretty good, and we've had content created by someone else, such as titles. Every single time we've done this, what was chosen was what was created by the person, not by the Gen AI. So, a story brief. You probably all know this, but I'm going to give you some details anyway. So, where are we in the product life cycle? Is this awareness? Are you cross-selling? Where are you? Who's your audience? You have to know about them. What challenge do they have? You have to understand that. What related opportunity are you offering to solve the situation? What are 5 factors they care about most, regarding the solution? What's the urgency? And this is really important in how you tell your story. Is the urgency, and this is a mistake a lot of marketing departments make, is who's feeling the urgency for the solution? Is it the client who's got to do something fast? Or is it the marketing agency who's just trying to get attention? And that will affect the tone, the voice, the language that you use in the story. So is it important to solve the challenge now? And what are the most important benefits? You have to know the benefits from the reader's point of view. So a checklist when you're using Gen AI. Style issues. Watch out for repetitive patterns in phrases or structures, sentences of the same length, for example. Inconsistent tone shifts, informal to formal, or point of view switches, as we saw earlier. Overly formal or robotic-like language. Your inquiry is utmost important to us. I'm not sure we want to have that. Uncommon or awkward phrases. The car that knows your jet setter soul. That was one of the phrases that came out. I thought we got rid of jet setters in the 70s or 80s. I'm not sure we're going to sell jet setter soul today. And inappropriate, brand or tone. Watch out for content issues. Generic content. Once in a while, a credit card comes along that transcends the ordinary. The idea can be said much better than that. Factual inaccuracies. So one of the chatbots started running out a couple of scenarios about, a vacation in Tuscany. The problem was they recommended a sunset cruise in the Amalfi Coast, which is 535 kilometers away. So you're going to spend all day driving down, have your sunset cruise, and spend all night driving back. Maybe a wine tasting 35 kilometers away might be better. So you got to watch for that. I would have thought maybe that the chatbots would understand maps. Overuse of certain phrases. We gave the prompt the word sophisticated. So often it will take your phrase from a prompt or word and repeat it or use a thesaurus. And as we know from the way thesauruses work, there are related words. They're not equivalent words. And you have to watch out for that because it's thinking that just because it's listed as an alternate word, it's the equivalent. They rarely are equivalent. Okay, contextual issues. Details lacking personality. Tailored for women who spend at least $8,000 a year annually. That's, as generic as it comes. Overcompensation to simulate what humans might say, if a human is writing it. The Wonderless Elite card doesn't just crunch numbers, it deciphers your travel DNA. That actually came from one. Leave my DNA alone, please. No, thank you. So, what are the risks? Superficial, generic, and these are important. Superficial, generic content, inaccurate information. Believing Gen AI is an easy way to scale production. Poor brand impression. Bias and unfairness based on data sources, data leakage, and as you heard before, climate change. These things take a lot of electricity, so we have to use them smartly. So, brand risk is the biggest concern. 71% of consumers who said they encounter poor quality content produced by a brand, it makes them trust it less. And of course, what do we want as a brand? We always want trust. Inconsistent messaging leads to confusion. Irrelevant, untargeted content harms engagement. Lack of focus reduces the data that we need for optimization. If we're getting bad data, that's not helping us. And generic shallow content works against the idea of us being a trusted advisor, which is often what we're trying to do in financial services. So it's us versus them. Gen AI chatbots have hallucinations of reality. I'm sure you've all heard that before. However, we have delusions of value. And when the two are both present, we have to watch out. We have to be careful. So thank you. And any questions? Well, you can reach me later too. Okay, sure.
My name is Matt. I run Dash Street. We're a media agency. And just curious your take on, oh, thank you. A little bit louder. That sounds better. The use here of the narrative structures and what y'all are constructing with it, I think is really useful. I'm just curious your personal take on some of the AI use as it comes to visuals that are out there right now, and just how much you all have been using them. Are you using them? Is it still waiting for a little bit of time just from the legal side of it?
The legal side is a real issue. We were stopped early from trying to use one publicly, a very simple one, just because what's the source? Who owns it? I think part of the problem is of the ones that I've seen, and this is not internally, but across the board, awfully generic looking. I mean, how many times can you use that blue color? I mean, you put in financial services, automatically it's blue, and you can almost instantly identify a Gen AI visual. The problem is, of course, it diminishes the quality of your brand. Now, people are getting more sophisticated. There are some really good ones that are starting, but in general, it's not as far along, I think, as the content is. Also, remarkably, when there are words in the images, I've seen misspellings, which is pretty astounding. You think that, but it's just looking at it as an image. It's not looking at it as text. And until it actually considers there's text in an image and you've got to treat it differently than just the image, I think we have to be careful.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Adam Sank from United Church Funds. We're a faith-based investor. We do marketing for them. You described many of the pitfalls of AI stories right now. Do you anticipate them getting better? And if so, what's the time frame for that?
Well, I think they can get better now. We just have to be better using them. So I'm actually very enthusiastic about them. I'm probably more enthusiastic about the AI writing assistants because they give us much more control. And as a productivity tool, to be able to get something out that is following, at least on a reasonable level, your brand standards and your style, that's very helpful. So they will get better. There is a difference in when some of these tools came out more publicly a couple of years ago versus today. So they are getting better, but we are the ones who can accelerate their use if we're careful and we keep on reviewing very tightly what they're producing. The problem is I've heard from friends who work in other companies where the CMO will come to somebody and says, look, we can't do just one blog a week. Let's use Gen AI and do 3 blogs a week. What's the problem? It's not going to take any more time. Well, it will.
Questions? Got time for 1 or 2 more. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank
you
you.
very much, Mitch.